Hey guys, so I just got back from watching the Nutcracker Ballet, and since I have all this makeup on, I might as well put it to use. Today we're talking about all the books that I read in November and the books that I'll hopefully read in December. Also ignore this piece of hair that just won't stay down. The first book I read in November was The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton. This book is about a girl who's born with wings and she has to deal with the troubles in her life of having wings. It's sort of like a fictional autobiography, and it traces all the way back to her great-great-grandparents or something, and it's actually really interesting. It felt like I was reading Little House on the Prairie again, but I read that in 3rd grade, so I don't know if it's the same. But yeah, you really remember each and every character's story. It's not like one of them is really boring, and it's not like, oh, her grandparents just gave birth to her mother. It's like her grandparents had lives and her great-grandparents too. The first part of the story was kind of weird to me. I thought it would be more like the other YA novels that I read, where it's like all action-filled and stuff. But this one is just like not dull, but like you're reading about somebody's life, and it's really strange. And I was gonna put it down at one point, but then the book got kind of scary. I thought there was going to be a love interest, and there was, but it wasn't who I thought it was going to be. And the person that I thought was going to be the love interest turned out to be really creepy and actually scared the heck out of me. Like, it was scary. But the ending was scary. But it was a happy ending, I think. Yeah, it was a happy ending. But I still gave it a 5 out of 5 because it was really interesting. It was really new. I mean, I never read a book like this. And there's just something magical about the writing as well. Like, you were brought into this world and everything just made sense, even though none of it did. Like, a girl is born with wings. Her brother is kind of like... Maybe I shouldn't say that. I forgot to mention that this month I read a lot of books that I really liked. And the second book that I read this month was one that I really liked, and it's called The Spy Master's Lady by Joanna Bourne. So we follow these two characters. One's a French spy, one's an English spy, and it's set during the French Revolution or sometime after it, or the Napoleonic Wars. My English is so bad. But yeah, I don't have that much background on the time period then, except like... No, I don't have anything. A lot of the technical details flew over my head, but that was okay because the romance made up for it. Like, it was so cute. So it's like another forbidden love story where the French spy can't be with the English spy, but they're still together, and then things happen, and then they're so cute together. Like, I think I read this book in one day in the middle of November when I had a lot of things to do, and I tried to convince my friend to read it too, which is something that I don't usually do. But this book is so smart. Like, most spy books, they're really smart because the author is like the mastermind between the evil and the good, so you have to like figure out the bad guy's mystery, but you can't show the reader anything, so like the reader still has to be surprised, and I was surprised pretty much. Yeah, I thought this book was like brilliant, especially the first half. The second half was good, but the first half was whoa. So 5 stars there. And then I read one of the following books in the same series called The Black Hawk, because the character in this one was also in the other book, The Spy Master's Lady, and I loved him. So I was like, I want to read his story, but this one, I don't know. I still gave it 5 stars. It wasn't as heart-wrenching as the other book, and this book was so much information. Like, I thought I was taking a history class, and maybe I'm just too stupid, but like, I could not follow who was who. Like, who's an English spy, what is a French spy, who's Napoleon. But it was still really cute, so I still gave it 5 stars. And it was really smart. I think it's just me personally. Like, I don't think it's the author's fault that I couldn't get it. I think it's just me, so I'm not going to deduct her points for that. Plus, I'm really easy on romance authors. If I finish your book, it usually means I liked it. So I gave it 5 stars. And then the next book, why did I put off reading this book for so long? Like, I can't even. Miles! Oh my gosh! Like, okay. So the third book, oh, I can't even do this. The third book I read in November. No, this is the fourth book. The fourth book I read in November was Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. And it's so sad. I don't even know how to describe this. So we follow the story of a young woman who's an RN, and I'm starting to be an RN, so I was like, I know what you're feeling. And she's going for her master's, so she moves in with her brother, and the next door neighbor is a pilot who's super hot, and they start falling for each other. But then he has issues. He's damaged, and he can't love her. And the whole time I was like, okay, the author's gonna reveal the reason, and I'm gonna be sad because this is gonna be sad. And I was prepping myself the entire time. I was like, I know it's gonna be sad. You can do it, Margaret. You can fight through this. You don't have to cry. Like, maybe for once you don't have to cry over a book. No. I was not prepared for what happened because the author made everything seem so happy. And then everything went downhill. And I wasn't ready. If you can tell, I already gave this 5 stars. But also what's interesting about the book is that it's a dual point of view. It would always be one chapter is Tate and one chapter is Miles. And Miles has a distinct way of expressing himself in his chapters. And it was all really good and really realistic. And the characters grew. And Miles and Tate and... And the last book I read in November is one that I picked out because I had nothing to read and I didn't want to do homework. So I picked out a book, a random one, and I'm so glad I picked this one out. Like, I sped through it because it was so good. And it's called The Luckiest Lady in London by Sherry Thomas. So we have Lord Runworth, who's the ideal gentleman, but only because he made that image for himself since he had a bad childhood. And he won't let himself love either, or let anybody love him, or anything. And we also have Louisa Cantwell, and she has been trying to find a husband for like 8 years, and she has a list of what she wants, but like she's like, I need the money to support my sisters, so I'm gonna marry for money. And of course Lord Runworth has money. But at first she's like, no, like, he's too above my standards. Like, he'll never look at me. But then he does. And things happen in this book. Like, it's just so cute. And this book wasn't hard to read either. Like, a lot of historical romances, they try to use this not pretentious language, but language that's just hard to read, and they're trying to make them sound like they're from the time period. But the reader's like, well, at least I'm like, because I can't read like that. It's like all these like big words, and like they put the accents into the writing, and I can't read like that. So a lot of time I skip over that. But this book was so perfect, and nothing was out of place. Like, it just flowed so nicely. I love these two characters together so much, and I don't even know what else to say. Like, this month has just been lovely. But yeah, I'm really happy I read those, and 5 stars for all of them, even though I didn't like the Black Hawk that much, but it was still good. In December, after I'm done my finals, which I should be studying for right now, I'm going back home, which means I'm going to be with all my books, all those books that I bought, and I might be buying more, but all those books that I bought, and I'm going to read them. I'm so excited. So first off, I have been waiting for this book for 2 months from my library. I just didn't buy it because I read all of this author's other books from my library, and I didn't want to buy like the 7th book. I put it on hold in my library, and it's been 2 months, and of course I get it in the middle of my finals, like, of course. And this book is called Darling Beast by Elizabeth Hoyt. She has like almost 20 books I read every single one of her books. I love her books to death. Like, I love her to death. She's so good. It's the seventh book in the series, so you don't have to read the other ones. But in this book, the main character had an incident in a previous book, and so he's lost his voice. Like, how do you write a character who's lost his voice? Like, I love writing dialogue, but how are you? I'm so excited because I love her and I love her books and her characters are amazing. And next book on my TBR list is Opal by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and this is the third book in the Lux series, and I'm not really excited to read it. Like, but it's the third book and I've already read the first two, so maybe I should keep going because everybody says it gets better as the series goes on, but I'm like, kind of over Damon. Like, I was never into him, but I'm kind of over him already. Last book that I want to read in December is The Look of Love by Sarah Geo. This book is about a young woman who finds a message during Christmas, I think, where she has to find the 6 signs of love or else she'll be doomed or something like that. And then she's like, okay, I got this. Maybe she's not, I don't know, I'm making this up. But then she gets attracted to this scientist who's like all like stoic and like, nah, love's not a thing. But then like, how is she gonna find the signs of love if the man she's attracted to is like a rock? Like, and it's in a genre that I don't usually read. Like, I don't know if this was considered a romance. It doesn't really look like a romance genre novel. It looks more like adult fiction. No, not adult fiction. Not adult fiction. It looks like a regular, maybe contemporary, but mostly fiction kind of novel, judging from the cover. That's it for my November wrap up and December TBR. If you have any comments on the books, comment below. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye. And, oh, I'm so happy I read this book.